This is Joy from the Red Femme Rebellion. I've had to work up the courage to do this video, and I hope I'm speaking loud enough, but I am on a train. There's something about travel that's so soothing, especially trains. I'm too much of a control freak to be a passenger in a car, but I like moving. And I like being able to film while I'm moving. I'm representing, per usual, during travel, starting as many conversations as possible about this assault on women's rights and feminism as a whole that we're experiencing now. They said these videos are going to be a little bit out of order because I want to talk about something important. So I'm going to switch today's and yesterday's. But I want to talk about a series of events that happened after my mom died, which really kicked off my journey into victim advocacy and radical feminism. The first being that my mom died, and it ended my marriage. At the time, like I said in the other video, it took her 9 months before she got really sick and passed. So the end of that was drawn out and awful. And my marriage really couldn't handle the stress of that. I don't remember a whole lot of fights that we had. I don't remember a whole lot of disagreements or anything like that. But I do remember coming back one day after the hospital, and he was sitting in the basement in this recliner, and when I was standing on the stairs, so I didn't even go all the way downstairs. I was standing on the stairs, and he was angry, and I asked him, "What's wrong?" And he just kind of stared at me and said, "Don't you know?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Wow, Joy, we haven't had sex in a month." A month. Like, he spat it at me. Like it was some kind of duty that I'd failed to perform adequately when my mother was dying. Unfortunately, I really did need that big of a wake-up call to leave him. That's what it took for me to realize I deserve better than this, and I need to go. So it took my mom dying and my husband's blatant misogyny for me to walk away, but I finally did. That was September of 2015. I moved in with a friend into Baltimore, and about a year later, I met a guy while I was at work, and he was very flirtatious, very charming, invited me to go to his house for a date to get to know him, and I accepted. Something I would never, ever do now, but young and inexperienced, I went. He plied me with moonshine, homemade. I would never take homemade anything again. I knew the risks, and I can't even imagine not worrying about them or not caring about them then. I don't remember that experience. But he got me drunk. We had sex, and then we were going to say goodbye. And as I was leaving, he put one hand on the back of my shirt, the other hand on my belt, and forced me onto the ground, and he raped me. And I remember that moment as a second that lasted 100 seconds, 1,000 seconds. And the feedback loop, the broken record that was going in my brain was, no, I was supposed to leave. I had my hand on the doorknob. I was safe. I was going. This isn't supposed to be happening. But it was. And I froze. And that thought kept replaying. I was supposed to be gone. I was supposed to be gone. Over and over until it was over. And then I stumbled out and I got in my Jeep, my white Jeep Wrangler, and I drove away. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to tell. So I went to an urgent care, one of those little clinics. It's not a hospital, but like if you need emergency help, it's where you go. And I wouldn't tell any of the doctors or nurses checking people while I was there. I just kept saying, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to see a doctor. I can't talk about it. I just want to see a doctor. Don't ask me why I'm here. And they finally got me back into see with a doctor. And I told him what happened. I said, I was just on this date and I was raped and I don't know what to do. So I'm here. This was 2016. And that doctor did not lay a hand on me, not a finger of comfort, nothing. So he did not examine me, he did not advise me. He said, he steps back and he looks at me and he says, well, it was just you, and it was just this guy, and you just told me that you were on a date. So I can't say that it would be worth your time to report. I can't say it would be worth your time to report. In 2016, this is what the doctor told me. He said there is a clinic, a rape crisis unit that travels and serves all of Baltimore and the surrounding counties. But it would not be my recommendation to report what happened because no one would believe you, essentially. And while he was correct in the very barest sense of the term of believing, of worth my time, that it had been me and a guy, no witnesses to the event, just me and him, that we had had consensual sex earlier, that it would be a very difficult case to prosecute. He was correct. But that does not mean that I should not have been seen, that I should not have been cared for, that I should not have been screened. You are not clear from STDs and STIs after a sexual assault for 12 months, an entire year lived in fear. I had no context for that. And also the fact that it was one unit from Baltimore and the surrounding county. Baltimore is one of, I believe, three cities in the entire nation where the county is separated from the city because the population is so big. And I remember thinking, one unit to serve all that area just doesn't seem like enough. And because of the doctor advising me not to go, I did not go. But looking back, I'm very angry about that medical consultation. I'm very upset that my disclosure was to a doctor who discouraged me from seeking medical help. And that's where I think our biggest mistake is as a society, which is treating sexual assault and rape as if it is primarily a legal issue, a criminal issue, instead of a medical issue, which it is a medical issue. If you are assaulted, whether that's physical, whether that's sexual, you need to be seen by a doctor. You need to be screened to make sure you're okay. I want to normalize when someone says that they've been attacked, raped, or sexually assaulted. I want to normalize saying, not saying who's taking you to the police station. Let's normalize saying who's taking you to the ER, who is taking you to the rape crisis unit, who is taking you to be seen by a professional so that you can be screened for STIs and STDs for pregnancy, so that you can receive the counseling, whether that's psychological or legal counseling, so that you're aware of your options and your opportunities. Trauma-informed care is always and primarily about power and control, because rape is an action, a crime that's about taking power and control away from the victim. So in trauma-informed care, we do everything we can to return power and control to the survivor. So in this sense, if we encouraged women and girls who were assaulted, anybody who was assaulted, to go to the emergency room, to go to clinics, to get rape kits done, not on the basis of the goal of this endeavor is to prosecute your rapist, but in terms of self-care, in terms of victim advocacy and trauma-informed decision-making, that you want to have your options. You want to be able to make decisions when you're not in a trauma-responsive survival mode of what the hell just happened to me, what do I do? Nobody makes decisions. That's not the time. It's not the time. But getting the kit done gives you time. It gives you options where getting the kit done doesn't. And I'll talk more about that in a later video. But for me, I wasn't even offered. I wasn't encouraged. I was offered, but I wasn't encouraged to get the kit done on the basis of no one would believe me, when that is so far down the list of factors that I should be considering about whether or not to get a kit done or not, whether or not to get a kit done, a safe exam. And a safe kit is a SAFE, Sexual Assault Forensic Exam Kit. And the rape crisis unit was what I was denied by being discouraged. And in the trauma response, I took the doctor's recommendations of 2016. Was not recommending me to get help, and I did not pursue help. And instead, I think I walked around a TJ Maxx or a Marshall's or something in delirium for about an hour, calling my brothers and trying to get advice, and eventually just driving my way home and crying myself to sleep, and then waking up dissociated and determined to make it work. Make my life work. So this was, after my mom passing, it was really the next step that brought me closer. Because as I'll talk about probably tomorrow, my assault happened what I think almost serendipitously before a friend's assault, and that led me down this path. So thank you for your patience. I had to work up the courage to make this video. And again, I'm on a train because it's more comfortable than sitting still trying to do it. So thank you for listening to me, and